Hey guys, it's Megan. Welcome back to the library. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about how I was finally able to make a successful book club after years of failing. Also, I apologize for the lack of content lately. I'm just going to start making videos just when I have the inspiration to make them and not once a week. So there you go. Anyway, I was inspired today because I saw a Facebook post in a group I'm in for librarians that said, what do you do for book club? How do you get kids to read books for book club? They won't read, they don't show up, whatever. Okay, you don't. That's the answer. So I have a saga with book club and I want to tell you what I did to fix it and then all the ideas that we did for book club because it worked really, really well. So I always tried to have a book club. I couldn't find a good time for them to meet for one, but then also they just didn't have time to read another book, or even if some of them wanted to read another book, I didn't have enough copies of the book. So then we all tried to read, little groups, like 5 kids read this book, 5 kids read that book, and we tried to sit around and discuss it. And then they'd show up and nobody had read it, or some people had read ahead. Oh, yeah, I went ahead and finished the whole book, or oh no, I only read 2 chapters. I'm sorry, I didn't get to where I was supposed to. It's like, what do? And then they don't really discuss it. So what I found is that we basically had sort of a no pressure book club. It's like you just get to talk about books and do fun bookish activities. So I started it a couple years ago and we called it Breakfast Book Club, and we had it before school on Friday mornings because I couldn't stay after school because I had to get my child from daycare and stuff. So I couldn't stay after school. And there were some years that we didn't really have a time period in the middle of the day for clubs to meet or anything, which we don't really anymore either. So the only time was before school. And I thought, kids aren't going to show up before school early. They did. Oh, they did. 20 to 30 every week. So that's, it was just my big readers that really, really wanted to do it. So I called it Breakfast Book Club. I had it on Fridays. I let them bring their food in. Normally I didn't have really food in the library, especially now in the new school. But it's like, hey, these kids are going to clean up after themselves. It's okay. And I do have a Keurig with coffee, tea, and hot chocolate. So I said, okay, every Friday I will give you coffee, tea, and hot chocolate. You have to bring your own breakfast if you want. I'm not going to provide that every week. I think one time we did. I think for a Christmas party, we did breakfast. I keep using past tense because we're not doing it this year, but I'm going to start it back again next year. There were just various reasons, like I had hall duty and stuff in the morning, and there was no time even in the morning. But now my duty is more like inside the library. I don't have to stand out in the hallway. So I will be having it again next year. Very excited. So what did we actually do? Well, I have a list. I literally, so that I would remember from year to year, I made a Google Keep note with a list of every single thing that we did. Let me just show you. Yeah, this is the list. Is this crazy or what? Look at this. So I'm just going to read these off to you, kind of. Okay, so we didn't read books, but we talked about books and we did bookish activities. And there wasn't a ton of time, and people came in at different times too. They came in sometimes 5 minutes in or 10 minutes in, maybe they only came in with the last 5 minutes to spare because they just wanted to drop in. This way I didn't have to have an activity that like they had to do or they had to be there for the entire time for. So I would do, let's see, I gave them a survey about what we wanted book club to be. And that's how we kind of decided all this. I gave everybody a free book because we did books. So I said, hey, everybody take a free book. And I gave them the coffee, tea, or hot chocolate. And they were like, what? There's free stuff. I think that's how I got them all on board. Book bingo, which was a challenge we were doing for the whole school, but I gave it to them, I think a little early or something. We did book trivia while we were waiting on people. You could always do that. And then I showed them a certain feature on like a cool website about getting book recommendations. Talked about, at one point I showed them Goodreads, and because some people had never heard of Goodreads, or setting up an account for that or services like that. Let's see, what else did we do? Okay, we played Judge a Book by its cover and guess the genre. I made this game up because sometimes I'd see covers that the genre didn't look like what it was supposed to look like, right? I'm like, that doesn't look like sci-fi, that doesn't look like horror, or whatever, because it just didn't look that way. And so I made them guess. I picked ones that you really couldn't tell. You really thought it was a different genre. And we just played a fun guessing game. Guess the genre and like why. And I told them, hey, for the next week, bring one of your favorite books and you're going to do a little 1-minute review of it. So then everybody went around and did a little 1-minute review, book talk, basically a book talk of their book. So I didn't want it to be stressful or anything like that. I told them they didn't have to do it. And then they did. They brought a book and they did a little hype up the book to us thing. So people were getting recommendations from other people, and they got to talk about the books that they were enjoying. Guess the book based on the emoji. That was fun. The librarian before me had all these emoji cards. It wasn't the title, it was the plot. It was like the plot of the book, but told in emojis, and it was hilarious. I remember Dracula was hilarious. It was hysterical. There were like 20 emojis, and it was definitely the plot of Dracula. You're like, oh wow, that really is Dracula. We did a book trade. So if they were interested, that they could trade a book if they wanted to. We did, 1 week we just planned a themed breakfast. It was gonna be, oh yeah, it was a Hobbit themed breakfast is what we went with, like Lord of the Rings themed breakfast. One that we played bookish bingo. We did book club's favorite books display. Oh yeah, I wanted to make a display in the library with, hey, a display of our school's book club's favorite books. And so I asked them to go around the library and choose some of their favorite books. So they did. They just spent time walking around the library and gathering their favorite books. I put them on a display and I said, here's our favorite books. Very easy too for me to have a new display idea. And then let's see, plus play a game while, a lot of times we played a game while we were waiting on other people, like a trivia or something. Choose which books to buy from the book fair. We were having a book fair and I let them go around and help get ideas for, like, they made a stack for me of books that they thought I should buy for our library. Books Find Poetry contest. That was so much fun. They had to walk around. I'm sure you've seen, I'll put a picture in of Books Find Poetry, right? Where you have to go around the library and just find books and put them on their spines and the title makes a poem. And then we put them in the display window and had other students vote. And then I gave the winner a prize. I can't remember what the prize was, but let's see. I put prize was your poem in the front window display. Well, yeah, I put them all in the front window display though. So anyway, I asked for book recommendations for Read-a-Palooza. I needed ideas for what to do for Read-a-Palooza for that year, which is a whole other video. I can link you down below if you're interested. White elephant book swap. We did a book swap that was a white elephant thing. And then if they didn't want to bring a book to give away or swap, that we just grabbed one of our like discarded weeded books and they used that one. But we, it was so much fun. They got to steal them from each other and some of them wound up with silly books, and whatnot. That was so much fun. A white elephant party. Yeah. At Christmas time. Let's see. First line face off. I don't remember what that was. First line face off. I guess we decided which one books had the best first lines, I think. Identify the book by the puzzle. I don't remember what that was either. Puzzle. I don't know. We had a snow day. Blackout poetry with discarded books. So we took some of our discarded weeded books. We tore the pages out. Oh yeah, they even had to pick like, hey, do I want to start with a horror or romance or fantasy or whatever? And then I'd let them tear out a page. They picked one that they thought had good words on it and they had to black out, picture right here. Here you go. Black out a bunch of the words and all you're left with is the poem. And you could even decorate it. A lot of students wanted to decorate their picture. I don't think we had a contest for this one. I think I might have used it for decoration though in the library. And then they got to keep it. We did another book emoji quiz because they loved it. We did speed dating a book for Valentine's Day and I had that all set up. The bells, bells, bells. It's, like that poem, Edgar Allan Poe, I have not gone crazy. It's like, well, he does kind of go crazy in the bells poem, right, too, because he's like, the bells, bells, bells. Constant bells around here. So we did, Valentine's Day, I just wrapped books, I think is what I did. No, I didn't have those wrapped. No, I do sometimes wrap books, but this one, because that would be blind dating a book. This was speed dating a book, and I had books from every genre on each table, and they had to just spend a minute or two with each one to see if it's the one they wanted, and I had a little form for them to fill out. I don't think I even made them fill out the sheet because I usually only do that when I have actual classes coming to the library. Okay, what else did we do? We did Google Classroom. Google Classroom for all new people. What? Google Classroom for all new people. I don't know what that means. I didn't even have a library Google Classroom back then, so I don't know what that means. Showed them silly, weird books. Oh, I found some of the weirdest books that we had, the silliest books. Students always ask for like weird books or funny books or whatever, and I gathered a bunch of them and showed them those. Letting a scavenger hunt choose your next read. Oh, a lot of them didn't know what to read next. So I was like, okay, we'll let this crazy scavenger hunt choose your next book. It was like, first go find a book about blah, blah, blah. And then that leads to this and that leads to that. And whatever the last book was like the book they were supposed to read. I thought that was funny. The one week we just watched a little quick video. It was called The 5 Most Difficult Books Ever. It was about like the hardest books to read in the English language. So I think number one was, what was it? James Joyce. What's the one? Oh my gosh, James, the crazy one, book hard to read. I'm just going to Google hard to read. Not Ulysses. Finnegan's Wake. Yeah, because it's like unreadable. Yeah, that was the number one, I think, in that video. But that was a really fun video just to watch because I didn't even know, like, well, hey, what are the hardest books to read in English? Oh, Easter egg hunt around Easter time. We hid Easter eggs and they had to go around and find them all around the library. That was fun. Just got some kind of weird email. Anyway, what books we're reading and recommendations to each other. Yep, that I didn't really plan much that week. I didn't have time because some of this obviously involves a little bit of planning ahead of time and sometimes I didn't have that time. So I just did, hey, everybody just come with what books you're reading. Just talk about them. good books you've read recently, and everybody can get some ideas. Maybe that was great, just sharing. Everybody likes talking about good books that they're reading, you know, and getting new ideas. Using ChatGPT to come up with genre signs. Oh, we were getting ready to move to the new school, and I needed ideas for the genre signs. Still don't have good genre signs, and I was going to have them help me come up with ideas. We took a big group picture for the yearbook for book club, where we were hiding, like we were in the shelves, like it was crazy. More books we're reading, because not everybody got to talk last time. Oh yeah, so sometimes when I'd have 30 kids, you know, and we only had about 30 minutes or less, depending on what time everybody showed up, that even if they talked for only a minute, just even getting started took a while. So I mean, not everybody even got to share their recommendations, so we continued that for a second week. Book icebreaker bingo. That's funny, because we should have done that at the beginning of the year. But I think I'd already developed it for the next year. We did it in May, and it was like getting to know each other by playing an icebreaker bingo. And some of the, well, I can link it down below. I'll put a picture in of it too. But yeah, it was like, you know, find somebody who has done this item, this thing, you know, or who owns this book, or would rather read audiobooks or whatever, you know, somebody that has a public library card, which they probably mostly do if they're in book club. And once they got a bingo, then they could get a prize. But mostly it was, they had to write down the person's name on the sheet when they found somebody, and they could not use the same person twice. And they couldn't use themselves, of course, or anything. They could use me. I'd let them use me for one of these. But that way they had to get to know people and learn their names a little bit. So that was good. But we should do that first. Obviously, should have done that first. At the very end of the year, we did a survey about book club for the next year, and did some just reflections on this year, and played some kind of a fun game. And then it was canceled the next week because of testing. Oh yeah, AP testing starts at 8 a.m. in the library, so I couldn't even have book club. And then the next time was the last day of school, and I don't think we did it that day. So that's what we did. Now sometimes I have a couple of times where it says in here canceled, or no school, or whatever. So I mean, there were definitely, yeah, there was a week that I was out. Here was another one out, canceled. I mean, there were definitely, you know, 5 or 6 times that it was just canceled. So I've got to come up with some new ideas for sure. But those are some things I did that the students loved. They were relatively easy to plan, didn't take much time, and you could do them, you know, in 30 minutes or less. Kids could even trickle in and do them if they had to. And I got kids to show up before school. And of course I gave them free coffee and tea and hot chocolate. So that might have helped. So guys, good luck. I hope that you can use some of these ideas, because I wish that I had known this earlier. And all the years I failed doing, but I probably didn't learn this till my 5th year as a librarian. So the first 4 years I was like, I've tried different things and they don't work. I'm just not even doing book club. You know, I was going to give up entirely. This was my last ditch effort and it worked. So anyway, good luck. Let me know, please, if you have any other ideas for what you do for a book club, because we would love to hear how you can make it successful. Because I know kids just don't have time to read another book. You know, they're already being required to read a book for school sometimes or whatever, and then they just don't have time, or they just don't do it anyway, and then you can't really discuss the book. So it'd be nice. I mean, maybe 1 month out of all that, we could actually do a read where we do it all together. But anyway, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.